Total City Takedown is a competitive board game where you and your friends each take control of a company with the goal of taking over the city through underhanded methods. Vie for control of each district by moving around the board, gaining resources that you can then invest into those districts. If you have the largest share of resources invested into the district, you gain their influence and earn influence points. But be careful, your spot can be usurped by another company if they invest more resources into that district than you did. Once you've earned enough influence and can maintain it over a couple of terms, you completely dominate your competition and achieve victory.
Total City Takedown's main gameplay loop is based around gathering 3 different types of resources: tech, labor, and money, by moving around the map and landing on different tiles. These resources, represented as tokens, can then be invested into districts to gain influence points. For better clarity, each token is color-coded to each corporation, so when a player does invest the resources into the district, everyone else can see who has the most place there. To add competitiveness to the game, the secondary gameplay loop adds card tiles, positive and negative, that players can use to interact with each other. This can involve taking others' resources, moving around the map, losing resources, and more. Each corporation has their own specific positive and negative deck, which contain these serious fun themes, as they're taken to real-life events of those types of companies. Finally, the last element of gameplay is the corporation description cards. Each card describes each corporation's specific playstyle and abilities that they can use to achieve victory, which is similar to most other characterability pages in other games.
From the start of the project's development, the goal we set out for ourselves was creating a game that uses serious fun in its themes and gameplay, but in a more subtle manner. From previous projects, we found the serious fun to be more heavy-handed, and that it used a large portion of the focus and development rather than on fun gameplay. Using this and our personal interest, we aimed at creating a competitive game that allows for some strategy and decision-making. As development progressed, this philosophy was always present in our minds, and as more and more complexity was added onto the base system. As the system gained complexity and the core gameplay loops were set in stone, the next goal was refining the clarity on each element so the players didn't have a difficult time deciphering the rules, procedures, and gameplay. We created many icons and logos to represent different resources, companies, and cards to have more emphasis on learning the game visually rather than having to read the rules to learn the information. The first iteration of our game was more focused around how the core gameplay loops functioned and how they tied into the serious fun aspect of the game. The main feedback we received was that while the concept was solid, we could still be more clear on how we incorporate the serious fun into the game and the clarity on certain gameplay elements. After the completion of the second iteration, with changes made to visual clarity of the board and gameplay elements like resource tokens and corporate description cards, we found that it did a lot to make the game more fun and engaging. The players were able to grasp the core gameplay much faster than before, and had a more vested interest in creating strategies of how they moved around the map and what districts they needed to focus on to win the game. Another thing of note was how the serious fun tied into the game, because while it was there, it could be emphasized more on how it relates to real events.